Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening, and welcome to Computerized Start. Come on, overlay. There we go. Computerized Start. Show where I explore the computers of my generation to inspire the next. I do apologize for being late, but I had so many things I had to do before I could stream, because the last thing I wanted to do was potentially disturb the neighbor's dogs after midnight, because I'm sure they would not appreciate that. All right, let's see. We have Thomas Armstrong, Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack, Garth Beagle, Jack 68K, Trina's Technobabble, Retro Techie, and Eric's Edge, and Jeremiah 420. He's on Instagram. Welcome to the stream. If you're wondering why in the world I was having so much trouble seeing the chat, well, that is because I have the TRS-80 Model 4P on the bench, and it is kind of tall and obstructing my monitor. And it is the focus of tonight's stream. We'll go ahead and warn everyone, I am recording this with my camcorder, and I'm going to try to focus on recording this to then make a shorter video for the people who don't like to watch live streams. But of course, live streams are so much fun. Now, what are we going to do to this wonderful TRS-80, which was rescued from the trash, most certainly? Well, Joe tested it before he sent it to me. This is the TRS-80 that was shown in episode 2 of Channel Surprise. So Joe has tested it, and he indicated that the power supply needed recapped. So, oh, Joe! Speaking of Joe, you start talking about him, his ears start burning, and he pops into the chat. So Joe will be here to correct me if I'm wrong about his test notes. And, Geek with Social Skills is here too. Welcome. I can see the chat just a little bit better now. All right. So I have a PS power supply cap kit from Console 5 for the... Zodium Retro, welcome. Yes. So I've got the TRS-80 Model 4P power supply cap kit from Console 5 with some wonderful capacitors, including some safety caps. So there must be, or possibly is, a reefa hiding inside this TRS-80 Model 4P. I also have some floppy drive belts from Console 5. There are actually 3 in this bag because the Atari 1050 uses the same belt as the Model 4P floppy drive because they both use tandem floppy drives. So convenient. Also, I have another special upgrade, and I'm going to go ahead and install this while I am in the machine tonight, but this will probably be a second video when I do the shortened videos. But I have a very special upgrade. all the way from down under. Because yes, I ordered this from Australia. No, not from Bruce. Bruce doesn't sell these. Although if he did, I would have ordered it from him. But this is a Graphics 5.1 clone. So this is a clone of the board that back in the day would have given your TRS-80 Model 4P high resolution graphics. Now this is a compatible clone. It largely, I believe largely is using the same logic chips. However, it is improved because the original version of the graphics had problems with, I think, snow on the output. This board fixes those problems. Also, it uses, I think, one static RAM chip instead of multiple memory chips that the original used. So it actually has a reduced chip count. So it's actually a smaller board. So, very cool. And actually, there is a clip lead on it. The original board would have had a clip lead, just like this. So, so anyways, I think it is about time to... oh yes, Thomas, this is the premium belt. This is the fabric reinforced belt because it really didn't cost that much extra. I don't know if the floppy drives are going to need this, honestly. So but I went ahead and ordered it because I'm gonna have it open. I'm going to take a look at the floppy drives. Power supply definitely needs recapped. Joe's test notes indicated that it was causing some instability on the monitor. So, although hopefully it's the right kip. So anyways, I think I might have missed some questions in the chat. So let me just go ahead and double check. I think Retro Techie has already asked if he can have it. And no, Retro Techie, you may not have this one. And let's see here. Did I fall asleep? No, I had to go grocery shopping after work. And then I had to take the trash out, which I didn't want to do and possibly disturb the neighbors' dogs after midnight, because I'm sure they would have not liked their dog barking at me, rumbling with the trash. And I needed to update the animation that starts the live stream because it was out of date. And I created a thumbnail. And then I put on one of my fashionable shirts. So I had not fallen asleep. I just needed a little more time. Let's see here. Any other? Yes, Retro Techie, I do appreciate the channel supporters that are simply here watching the channel. Thank you. Retro Techie, the paint cans in the background that... the paint cans you see in the background there are all of the original paint that got left behind by the previous owners. And I need to go through them and see if they even belong on any of the walls, because I'm not even sure that all of those colors still exist in the house. But those are the paint cans that were not dried up and I didn't immediately recognize as not a color in the house. So I got to go through them. They're also sitting there because I got to find a better place for them. I had to, they were under the stairs, but I had to pull everything out from under the stairs. Let's see. I think, let's see here. Any other questions? All right, Thomas is confirming the drives will need the belts. Let's see here. Monitors can use a recap. Oh, cool. All right. So I have the TRS-80 Model 4P. I've taken the plastic case off the front, which actually simply has the, it's actually kind of cool. It has a spot for the, I guess the manual, if I still had it, and the diskette, which I got off eBay from, if anyone's interested, I actually, of all things, bought it from the host of the TRS-80 Trash Talk podcast. So I left his business card in there. But it's an actual Model 4 TRS-DOS and basic interpreter disk, which I have booted on this machine, so I know it works. And if anyone is wondering, not that it really matters, this was apparently machine number 2. Come on, focus, camera, focus, focus. All right. Now, to get the computer apart, I believe all I need to do is remove 4 screws. There were 2 on this side, and there are 2 on this side, and then I will probably come to discover there's at least 1 more somewhere else that I haven't found. But luckily, they are just Phillips screws, and I'm wondering if they are actually painted the original color. Which, if they are, then this machine could use a RetroBrite. However, I'm not the RetroBrite king. In fact, the first and last time I RetroBrited something, I was more like the RetroBrite court jester because it looked awful when it was done. But yes, it is a beige computer. The mustard is strong with this machine. Joe would know because, first of all, Joe knows, and second of all, this machine did come from Joe. So if you're not subscribed to Joe's channel, well, I've put a link in the video description. You should go check his channel out. So now that I've removed those 2 screws, and I think the sensible person would probably go look at the service manual. Oh, Joe, you've done a couple live streams since the last produced video. The handle has, oh yeah, the handle has screws. But I don't know that they're holding the machine on. Oh, no, Joe is telling me handle. So I'm going to take that to mean that these screws are holding the case on. See, as I was saying, there were the 4 obvious screws and then the 2 hidden screws that I suspected were somewhere, but figured I would wait for Joe to post enough things in the chat for it to scroll up. Yeah, Joe has had this computer open. In fact, Joe has had multiples of these computers open. I mean, not to give away some of the other people that I know Joe has passed along a Model 4P to, but there might be some other YouTube content creators that might make videos on these machines. All right, and now that we have this computer open, I see that the keyboard is Ah, yes. Conveniently plugged in for non-removal. Well, I will set the keyboard off to the side while I wait for Joe to give me a clue that I have 20 more screws to remove. Yes, that is what I suspected, because the power supply is... I believe the power supply is up here. The motherboard is down here. And my warranty is apparently void. Oh well. Yeah, the 4P is not that common on YouTube. However, I have a good reason to believe it might get a little bit of love this year. So, and I think, at least from what I've seen on Septandy, I might be the first person to have live streamed working on one of these this year, at least. I do know there are some 4P videos up on YouTube. And Jeremy's asking a true or false question in the chat. The Tandy 1000 line would not have existed without the IBM PC Junior being released. I don't know. I'm going to have to go with false, because I suspect Tandy was probably would have released a PC compatible at some point anyways, even if it was not Tandy, or not PC Junior, or not related to the PC Junior. But I'm guessing the PC Junior gave them a very convenient thing to be compatible with. Oh, lovely. All right. So to remove this back plate, you remove the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 obvious screws, and then you realize that there are 2 hidden screws. That are in here. And this is where I'm going to hope that my screwdriver is magnetic. Well, that screwdriver is not magnetic. The Threadripper torque wrench is not going to help me here. Although, if anyone is wondering, the Threadripper RAM passed its diagnostics. I guess I'm glad something in the back of my mind told me to order it, because it actually passed. Yay for Corsair memory. Well, okay, so I do need to run the memory test in parallel mode, because I realized after I ran it that, and was reading the summary report, that the MemTest86 was telling me, you know, for better stress, you should run this test in parallel mode. Why, gee, thanks. I thought that was default on the Pro version. That's why I bought the Pro version of MemTest86. Hi, Jeff Ward. Welcome. First time I've seen you in the chat. Tandy 1000 XS, nice. I would not mind a computer from the Tandy 1000 series. That would be nice to have, but I am certainly glad to have a TRS-80. And there we go. So there is the power supply. And there's the analog board. Now, the caps I have are for the power supply. I am somewhat wondering, depending on what I find after I recap this, if I'm going to have to come and also recap the analog board. But we will see. All right. So I've got that. Now, to remove the power supply. All right. This will come with the necessary warning that, warning, high voltages exist inside your TRS-80 Model 4P. It has a display, after all, that runs on high voltages. Therefore, if you have used your TRS-80 anytime recently, you should probably discharge the tube to ground before sticking your hand in this area of the computer. I will not be responsible if you do not do that and you get a nasty zap from the CRT. We'll also not be responsible if you get a nasty zap from the high voltage capacitors that will also be charged for some time after you have the computer turned on. That would include even on the power supply board. Because if you want to know what scares Justin more, I mean, granted, yes, the fact that the CRT is under a vacuum and would implode if broken, that is a little scary. The high voltage that the CRT works at, that is scary. But I might be intimidated more by the high DC voltage capacitors in the power supply that are possibly a larger effective capacitance than the CRT, according to some papers I've read. Although, the CRT is nothing to trifle with, so you should probably discharge it. And of course, I misplaced my plastic spudger because I'm trying to get the cables off the power supply. Yes, Joe is giving us a sage word of advice. Fun fact, your CRT should not sound like snakes. If it does, you did a bad. And I'm going to add to Joe's statement, and you will have a sad. All right. Checking the chat here. Well, Joe, I actually will have to disagree with your statement of if the machine is not blue screening, you don't need to run a MIM test, because I had bought some Corsair RAM, brand new kit, had no reason to expect it would be bad, and it was bad. I ran a MIM test on it just to make sure because I was about to start doing some video work, and it failed the memory test because the memory was actually bad, brand new out of the box. So if I hadn't run a memory test just to make sure before I went to go start rendering videos, which would have probably certainly caused blue screens and graphic anomalies, then I would have been wasted time. Well, I probably wouldn't have wasted time. I would have ended up having to run a memory test then. So basically, I saved myself a little bit of trouble by running it and finding the problem in 15 minutes instead of having random little crashes. And because the thing is, Premiere Pro, although it is better than it has, the current version is better than some previous versions in terms of crashiness. It still does occasionally do weird things. So it was kind of nice to know that I had a problem. So, well, Retro Techie, looky here. I've got the power supply out. And Danger Will Robinson, I see the spicy yellow caps. And the scary thing is I've had this thing powered up. So I could have had smoke in the basement. Because it looks like Joe might have left the element of surprise in this TRS-80. And Joe thinks I should put a smiley face on my bench so the camera knows to focus when I have nothing on the bench. I think I'm going to do better. I actually have thought of maybe putting a logo or something on the bench. I mean, not that I have anything against smiley faces, and definitely don't have anything against googly eyes. I mean, I have a box full of over 4,000 googly eyes. Which, if maybe I might give some away at some point. That'd be pretty fun. All right. So I have the yeah, I'll reflow the power connectors. I mean, they look fine, but I'll reflow them. I'm not sure there's any cracks in them. Yeah, I'll reflow them anyways. That was just an observation. I was not I mean, as difficult as it is to open these things up, I will not save 5 minutes to waste many more minutes. Don't worry, Jeremy. I know I'm gonna get your 2C back to you soon, but I won't put any googly eyes in it. Or rather, I won't put any googly eyes in it in a way that your son would find them and put them all over the house. I'm not saying that I won't get an inspiration of silliness and put some googly eyes inside the 2C on the case somewhere to give you a laugh if you should open it up sometime in the future, but I won't put any in the box for your son to find and hide them where you least expect them. So, yeah, let's see here. Fun fact, maybe TRS-80 power supply was assembled in Hong Kong. Well, actually, this one says made in USA. This one might have been made in the USA. Although, that is, unless they did the old final assembly trick, because, like, yeah, it was mostly assembled in Hong Kong, except we left this one capacitor here or something off of it so we could solder that in the US. I have no idea what Joe's trying to tell me. So, let's see here. Oh, one thing I should do before I begin is tell you to smash that like button. The other thing I'm going to do before I begin is go check the Console 5 website, and I'm going to look up the power supply kit page, and I'm going to look to see if they have any notes as to substitution. I'm just going to double check. So 8709365 revision C. Yep. All right. And I'm going to, yeah, this power supply does look gently used. Kind of surprising. I was expecting it to have been used more. Actually, this refa is less cracked than I was expecting it to be. All right. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the capacitor list on the Console 5 website. I'm just going to double check that I have all the capacitors and that I don't see any discrepancies. So C1 is a 35 volt 10 microfarad. Okay, and it looks like they sent a 50 volt. The wiki says 50 volt. The larger black caps do not appear to be domed. No. Although these two caps here kind of look like they might be kind of weird. Yeah, I'm gonna recap this anyways. So anyways, so C1, all right. Doesn't look like they substituted voltage. C2 is trying to read so it is a power supply is dusty. 4.7 microfarad, 50 volt. So it looks like they sent a 50 volt. C6 is a 1 microfarad, 50 volt. C8 is a 1, 2, 6. So how did they number these? C8. Oh, okay. So it looks like they numbered them left to right, kind of top to bottom. So here's C8 here. And it is a 35 volt 47. And it looks like that's what they include in the kit. C9 here is I think a 1 microfarad 50. Yeah, it looks like the 1 microfarad 50. So C10 and C11 and C12. C10, C11, and C12 are the same in the kit. 3316 for C12. Oh, that's not C12, that's C16. I don't see C12. 10, 2200. Okay, C10 and C22 are okay. Same C12. Where's C12? C12. This power supply may not have a C12. Oh, there it is, C12. 2200. Okay, 6.3. So they substituted a 10 volt for that one. Okay. So C12 is here. C14 is a Green, it's green. The writing's also on a side where I can't really see it. Oh, there it is. It is a C14. What's the wiki say? 100 microfarad, 35 volt. It does look like 100 microfarad, 35 volt. Okay. C16 is a 2216, maybe? 16, 2200. Yep. Okay. C18, which is this one, is a 3300. 16, okay. C19. C19 is this green one here, and it is, I can't read it, 100, it looks like the same 135. C20 is a 470. C20? Okay, it looks like C20 is they substituted a larger capacitance. Okay. C23. I'm going to use the one they have in the kit. Usually it has to do with, okay, larger voltage for C23. Sometimes their Radio Shack may have made a change in the run, or it's possible they couldn't find the same capacitance in the size, so they substituted a larger one. So let's see here. Is that C20? That's C25 is 16 2200. Yep, same size. C26. C26 is this big one here. It's a 200 volt 220. Yep, and this other big one is the same. Okay, so they same value. Of course, the new capacitor is just so much smaller. And then C32 is a 0.22 microfarad X class, and C33 is a 0.01 microfarad X class. So they have and actually it looks like on this power supply, the power supply does not have the both sides leads, but it looks, I'll have to kind of bend them in place slightly. Yeah. All right, so it looks like a couple of these are slight substitutions, nothing too major except for this one. So next, now that I've confirmed that everything looks to be correct here, I'm going to sort I'm just going to set these caps. I'm going to make sure, because some of these are on paper, some of them aren't, so I'm just going to put the common values together for the loose ones here. It's a 50 volt 47. 125. Okay. Actually, it looks like in this kit at least, there's only 2 sets of loose caps that are the same value. Now, your mileage may vary depending on what they have in stock, but these are the same value and these two are the same value. All of the other common value ones where there's multiples are on paper tape. Now, granted, may not be the case because Console 5 will use whatever they can get, and it's possible your kit may have loose capacitors for some of the other values. But just wanted to double check. And one last double check before I start this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I should have 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I have all the caps in the kit. Welcome 1-Bit Fever Dreams. I was just about to heat up TRaSh-80. Which, actually, funny story. The TRaSh-80, the Cowdog stickers that I ordered back in July, maybe it was June? I don't remember when I ordered them. Anyways, after waiting almost 2 months, I contacted the Etsy seller and they gave me a refund because they was like, well, they might show up, but yeah, they should have shown up by now, so I'll give you a refund. Well, they showed up today. So nearly, like, I think a month and a half after I asked for the refund, they randomly showed up. They had mailed them, I guess, first class without a tracking number. So I didn't even know they were out for delivery. Yes, yes, Radio Shack used to be a huge part seller. How's the thermal paste on the transistors? Probably old and dried up, but no. There's no way I can get a screwdriver in there to remove the transistors from the heat shield. I'm just going to start with a recap. Actually, you know, maybe it's not old and dried up. I mean, it does look like they used, yes, this is a Class C power supply. It's been reworked. Or that's just factory flex on it 1. There's something there and something here, and some of this I'm fairly sure is probably factory flux, but someone might have had this apart. Yeah, I don't have a micro spanner. I'd have to desolder all the transistors and the heatsink to get them off. This other one I guess I can take this one off and see what it looks like. I am hoping to maybe get everything done tonight, although if I don't, I don't. Yeah, the green cap, well, I did brush the dust off the green cap to be able to read it, but that green cap might be newer. It's possible this computer, yes, yeah, Joe says it came from an electronics company, so it may have been repaired more than once. Yes, it does kind of look like they might have serviced this computer. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove all the caps because I've confirmed confirmed the wiki listing is correct for this power supply. I'm also trying to find the, okay. All right, let's try that again. All right. All right, hold on while I see if I can't find the other cleaning needle for the solder gun. Although I think I'm gonna have to freshen up the solder here. In fact, it almost, actually, I may be about to find out that there's some sort of a coating. Or it might be old. I can't tell if there's a coating on this solder, or if it's old flux, or... Okay, that is weird. Yeah, very cheap solder, or there's actually something coating this solder. I can't tell. Oh, I think that... Oh, there we go. That helped. Okay. Nicotine. Well, actually, Joe, it almost looks like there's a clear coating on top of some of these solder joints. Although, maybe it's not. I want to try something here. Let me see. No, I don't use that toothbrush. Let's see here. There we go. Nail polish remover. Yeah, let me see if that'll Let me see if that does anything to it. I can't tell if it's... It felt like it might have been wax. I was wondering if it was conformal coat. Nail polish remover is having no effect on it. So that is not removing the whatever this... it looks like a coating. I can't tell what it is. It looks like I just had to... Looks like I'm just going to have to heat it. Because it did eventually... It looks like it did eventually come off that capacitor I just removed. I think I basically burned it off. Alright, well... There's no time like the present to... add ventilation so that people aren't complaining in the comment. That, and so I don't have to blow the smoke away as often. Alright, I may very well just have to use... it may have... Yeah, Thomas, it might have missed proper cleaning at the assembly factory. Or, if the electronics factory this came from serviced this power supply at some point, they may have also not... Although that would be kind of weird that they wouldn't properly clean a board, but... Well, I guess there's always the... They needed to get it fixed and back into service, they didn't bother cleaning it. Because after all, it'd been one of their computers, not a customer's computer, so just get it back into service. Alright. So I guess what I'm going to do at least is start with the solder wick, because that seems to be doing it. It's doing something. You know, honestly, if I had to guess, it feels like this coating is wax, although that just seems weird. I guess maybe it's some sort of a factory flux. Alright, at least it does seem to be burning off. Burning or melting off, I don't know which. But I'll get these caps off. I do not know if this has unleaded solder over top of leaded solder. If it did, my soldering iron is probably hot enough that it would melt both solders. Because I think I have it set to 750 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think is hot enough that it would eventually flow the unleaded solder. Alright. Alright, someone at Tandy bent these leads and I gotta bend them back. Oh, the other thing. Yep, double checking the polarity is marked on these boards. Maybe they used crayons for flux. I don't know, maybe. I mean, I thought when the Model 4s were coming out that Radio Shack and Tandy were doing fine, so... Yeah, that cap looks a bit suspect on the bottom. Oh, and speaking of the suspect, although this is for bad or suspect chips, it's like Garth was thinking that I would ask him for stickers, or I did ask him for stickers and forgot that I did. But I got stickers from Garth yesterday, including one of the freaky sus parrot stickers. So now I just need to find an appropriate box to put it on for my suspect chip bin. So if anyone out there has a nice box that they'd like to surprise me with, well, get in touch with me. I don't need anything as elaborate as Adrian's dead chips bin, but I do like wood grain. I'll throw that hint out. Ah, yes. Speaking of Joe orders, I have it on good authority that Joe got an order today from an infamous YouTuber. I ordered things for future videos, so... Alright. Ah, this green cap is a Nichicon cap. Weird. Actually... Alright, I was looking at the other caps I pulled. So one was a Nippon Kimicom. Well, I can't really read the writing, so I may have misread the name. Let's see, those two little blue ones were Nichicons, and this green one is Panasonic. Alright, now these big capacitors don't look like they have that coating on them, so I'm going to see if I can't... Although their leads are too big for the desolder gun, so... not sure how this works out. Usually I have trouble just using solder braid getting these caps off. But these are just coming off really easy with solder braid. Or solder wick, depending on what part of the world you're in. Alright, so this big cap's a Nippon Kimicom. And I guess I was reading that right. See, and there's another big cap. See right here. Yep, Nippon Kimicom. See here. So we'll move this one next. And this one is a Refa. And yes, I just simply tossed the Refa well away from me. And all right, let me see. That one's got a little solder still stuck on it. Oh, I think that's the leads just... Actually, I think I'm going to have to clean my desolder gun. Oh, that's the thing I forgot to order today. I knew there was something I needed to order today. The ceramic filters for my desolder gun. Come on, pin. Oh. Oh, okay, the pin is deformed. Well, there's actually one easy way to get this pin out. because the pin is deformed at the end. So I'll just clip the deformed part off. And so this is the other reefa cap. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if these reefa caps were replaced at some point. Because I would have expected a 40-year-old reefa cap to have been a bit on the crackly side. Although the case I could see where it did look like it was cracking. It just wasn't quite as bad as I would have expected. Alright, so there's those safety caps. Turn that component back around. It looks like it got twisted around at some point. Alright, so let me get the get this cap here. All right. Eric, I see your question about the Sony Watchman, but I'm not familiar with that product line to know what cable it uses. Though, fun fact, the TRS, when it comes to audio cables, does not mean Tandy Radio Shack. It's a Nippon Kimicon cap. It's a tip ring sleeve. Okay, whoever put this power supply together really liked bending the capacitor leads. Alright, so this green one is another Nichicon. Alright, so these three here are big caps. Actually, interestingly enough, for some reason, whatever that coating is on some of these, there's a lot of it on that cap right there. Yeah, Joe says bending the leads holds the components in when soldering by hand, and it would not surprise me if this power supply was hand assembled. I mean, especially given the number of bent pins on it. Because if it was, they'd used wave soldering to hold the through-hole components on, I don't think they would have needed to have bent the pins. There'd probably be some glue under the capacitors to make sure they stayed in place, but they would have not bent the pins because the board would have remained upright going through the wave solder machine. Hmm. Let me see if I can find a pair of needle nose pliers. I think they're floating around my desk somewhere. Oh no, that's right. I put them back in the case. Yes, it's capacitor season. Maybe someday I'll be a big enough YouTube channel where I can have a someone in a giant capacitor costume walk up behind me eating a carrot and just go, "Hey, what's up, Doc?" All right, another Nippon Kimicom. So hopefully I can, I'll be able to get the Septandy scripted videos out before September ends. And then just, if you want to help my channel grow, share those once I release them. Or you can share this live stream too, but I think there's people that might enjoy the abridged repair video. And luckily my camcorder is still recording. Oh, Kimmy Khan. Sorry, the text is still rather small. Yes, thank you, Joe, for correcting my pronunciation. Even though I was reading it the way I read it, even though in the back of my mind was saying that doesn't sound quite right, but that's what I read because it's really small print on some of those capacitors. Unlike Panasonic that just puts an M in a weird shape on their capacitors. So nothing to read there. You just have to know that that's Panasonic's capacitor mark. And actually the weird thing is I don't know why they why it's an M in a circle, because I would think that maybe, well, put an N in a circle because in Japan they are the national corporation. No worries, Joe. Just continue to be Joe, because if you start being someone else, then we might get worried you're having a stroke. And also, I have to say, I've been looking forward to ordering my t-shirts for a while. Yes, Joe is continuing to be Joe, including his statement he just put in the chat that I'd love to show on the screen. I can't brain today. I have the dumb. Reminds me of a one of those spoofed safety signs. Or actually, it might just be a bad English translation sign, where it says, it's like, warning, no dumb area, do not dumb here. Someone I follow on Instagram apparently bought one of those stickers off Etsy because he's got a CNC machine, and apparently he had set his phone on the edge of the machine, and it was a spot where if the machine travels in that direction, the carriage hit the phone and knocked it on the floor and broke the screen. So he made sure to, he posted to Instagram his new warning sticker so that he remembered to do not dumb here, as in don't put your phone down here or you're going to break another screen. It's like, yeah, sometimes I need that warning sticker. And I think I actually found the seller on Etsy that was selling it, but they sell it as a multi-pack, and I was, well, some of the other stickers in the multi-pack are not quite my brand of humor, and I didn't order it. Oh, yes, thank you, Jack68K, yes. Yes, yes. Well, Joe, there's people I went to school with that I kind of wonder how they ended up too. Yep, another Nippon Kimicon. Yeah, so this repair is being brought to us by Solderwick, because with all these bent pins and the fact that I think my desoldering gun is I need to clean it, and the moment I remove it to remove the glass thing to clean it, I'm gonna tear the filter up. So I forgot to order filters. So this desoldering job is being brought to us by Gootwick. Which seems appropriate because of all these Japanese brand capacitors I've been removing. Gootwick is a Japanese brand of solder wick. And it's Goot. Well, Jeremiah, if I made an AVE reference, it was, well, totally accidental, actually. I actually subscribe to very few large YouTube channels. United Kimicon? I like to watch the smaller channels. I mean, yes, if anyone's wondering, yes, I do subscribe to TechMoan and Technology Connections, and of course LGR and 8-Bit Guy and trying to think. And maybe one or two other of the big channels, but yeah, a lot of the channels I subscribe to on YouTube are actually what smaller channels. I mean, the Gootwick suggestion came from Bruce. I don't remember how many subscribers he has right now. I mean, Steve seems to have an absolutely huge channel in comparison to some I subscribe to with, I think he's over 10,000 subscribers now. So, way to go, Steve. It'd be Mac84. I don't remember what you're at, Joe. And then there's a bunch of channels I subscribe to that haven't even hit the 1,000 subscriber mark yet. So actually, if you're curious someday, you're curious what YouTube channels I subscribe to. Granted, there may be a few that are in my subscription list that are there for weird reasons, but I think the channels I subscribe to is public, so. And you'll see there's a lot of small channels, and I've got several interests, so you'll see I kind of have some woodworking channels I subscribe to, and other channels where they make things. But yeah. Oh, okay. 2 of those pins were the resistors beside the capacitor. Ooh, this capacitor is fuzzy. Of course, I think that might just be from dust and not from capacitor disintegration, but I think that was a Nichicon. All right. Well, Joe, yeah, the YouTube algorithm can be a fickle beast. Who knows? Maybe when you, maybe what the YouTube world wants from your channel is the JCM1. Well, and I guess I can't lie. I kind of felt like my YouTube's channel's growth has plateaued the past, like, 2 months. I think right now the YouTube channel metrics I'm seeing right now is I've had added 2 subscribers over the past 28 days. Which is partially why I want to try the experiment of seeing what happens if I turn a live stream into a shorter video for consumption. I mean, for all I know, I'm just going to get a bunch of people complaining, I already saw this on the live stream. But I guess it's one of those experiments I got to try. Yeah, ASMR isn't my... Yeah, I'm not... Yeah, I'm not a big ASMR fan, too. Probably, I think I more enjoy videos that tell you how to do something or like, tell you about something. So, like, educational, per se. But seriously, if you're watching and you haven't heard about the JCM1 that Joe did, go check out some of his older videos. In fact, I think Joe, I could maybe even, I don't know if Joe has a playlist on his channel for the JCM1. But I know he's a mod, so he can provide a link to that or the first video in the series, or for all I care, a link to his web store. Although I think I already put that in the description. I beat you to that one, Joe. I put that one in the description. Joe even sometimes has blue scuzzies. Oh, he does have a JCM1 playlist. All right. I mean, the JCM1, I guess, would be along the lines of what Ben Eater did on his channel. Although I think Ben more did it as a kind of a in conjunction with a released build kit, but it's something I enjoy, kind of seeing the, I want to design I guess, for lack of a better term, modern 8-bit computer that's actually functional. You can actually do things with it. It has a cool chime when you power it up. Yes, what do you want in a 8-bit computer? Well, I want it to have an awesome chime. That's it. I don't care. Don't care if it can do anything else. Wow, that's a warm, really heated that capacitor up. It's Nippon Kimicon, a really small logo. Master Blue Scuzzy on the JCM1. All right. As it is, Joe can hardly keep the Blue Scuzzies in stock at his preferred work-life balance stocking point. So yeah, I don't think the JCM1 will get Scuzzy storage. It may be more likely get a flash chip or something like that. Oh yeah, oh yes, SD card direct driven by the 6502. Yeah, that'd be yeah. Why put a Scuzzy controller on it when you can just directly control an SD card? That makes way more sense. Save the Blue Scuzzies for your vintage Macs. Yeah. All right, another Nippon Kimicon. All right, did I get all the caps? All right, let me do a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 34, 15, 16. I think I've got one more that I missed somewhere. That's not a cap. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. Oh. Yep, okay. Got all the caps. Yeah, the 6502 is a good approachable processor for something like that, Joe. I agree. I mean, even though you can get Z80s, I'm not sure. Well, I mean, you can get. I guess you can get Z80s, but the Z80s you get nowadays is more geared for being a microcontroller than a processor. Nothing against the Z80 on the TRS-80, but... So anyway, I'm just cleaning the board a little bit before I solder. Actually, Jeremy, I believe the JCM... Well, the JCM1 is based on the 65CO2. Actually, I believe Western Design Center discontinued the 65C816. I don't think you can get it anymore. Or maybe you can. Or maybe it's the 65C802 I was thinking of that you can't get anymore. Yeah, Joe just posted a link and I gotta see what it is. Joe posted a link to the Z80. Okay, yeah, the Z80 microprocessor, so you can still get it in microprocessor form. Oh, okay, you can still get the 65C816. Okay, that's right. It's the 65C802 that I was thinking of that is discontinued and practically unobtainium, because I had actually thought that it might be cool to put one for no reason, because I don't think there's really much that could use it, but put one in my Apple IIe. But they're like a rare bird. A rare bird that probably would be useless because no software was written for it, but yeah, 802 is long gone. So I guess if anyone's wondering, so the 6502 and the 65C02 is the 8-bit processor. The 65C816 is the 16-bit version that is backwards compatible with the 8-bit 6502. In fact, it actually powers up in 8-bit mode, and you have to put it in 16-bit mode. That was the processor in the Apple II GS. But Western Design Center did have, back when the 816 was released, they had a 65C802. That was the 65C816 in a 65C02 compatible package. So it was the 16-bit processor in a pin-compatible 8-bit version. So obviously it only had the ability to address the address pins for 64K, so I guess 16-bit address, 8-bit data, but internally it was 16-bit. Yes, Jeremy's also reminding me the 65C816 was the processor in the Super Nintendo. So yes. All right, so we got the capacitors off. I'm looking to see if there is anything else. I think I'm going as focus. All right. So I am going to recap this in C1. So always, when you're replacing electrolytic caps, remember that the stripe is negative. Oh, so let me see. There is C1. Actually, I think C2 Let's see, that is going to be the 4.7. Yep, it's going to be this one here. Oh. Also keep in mind that just because two capacitors are beside each other, they're not necessarily the same polarity, because they might be on different voltage rails. There we go. I got C1 and C2 in. Just solder these a couple at a time. Hey, Garth. Right. Go. One cap. Two caps. All right. First two caps are in. All right. All right. C2, C6, and C6 is a 1 microfarad 50 volt. I think that was... Yep, okay. Let me go ahead and, so I'm going to get these in order, except that there's two of this value capacitor. So I'll just get them both at the same time. So this is the 1 microfarad 50 volt, but they substituted 100 volts in my kit, which is totally fine. That is a fine substitution. I think a lot of these, the 1 microfarad caps are very similar anyways. Okay, that's... It's actually... It was a number of years ago, but I'd actually ordered some 1 microfarad 50 volt caps from Mauser, and I don't, maybe they made a mistake, but I received 1 microfarad 100 volt caps. But actually, when I went to look at the data sheet from the manufacturer, or I didn't look at the data sheet. I actually measured the ESR and resistance of the caps they sent me, and I realized that the 50 volt and the 100 volt versions were so close together anyways that it wouldn't have mattered. Oh, I was wondering why those the solder. So I accidentally desoldered some resistors that were near this capacitor lead, and when I put solder on the resistor pads, it bridged over to that capacitor, but actually it's all a common, they're all tied together anyways, so. All right. Clean up that blob though. All right. That's definitely one I'm going to check with a multimeter just to make sure I didn't bridge anything there because of how close the So if you want a multimeter at a budget price, well, I can't really recommend anything because this isn't a budget multimeter. I know there are some YouTube channels that would recommend the Kaiweets something or other multimeter. This instead is a clamp-on multimeter that goes beep, and you can actually clamp it on DC voltage, which is why I bought it. Because a lot of clamp-on meters, the clamp only works on AC, but on this one, it also works on DC. So if I ever had car trouble and needed to clamp this ammeter on my car battery, totally fine. And Joe's Amiga 4000 is still marginal. Well, you'll get it, Joe. C6. All right, C8 is a 47 microfarad 35 volt. Oh, it's probably one of these. 47. Okay. So the original was that one was 35 volts. The replacement is 50 volts. Also, it's a much smaller capacitor. So I guess even capacitor technology improves. I'm trying to think of the channel, Joe, but I've subscribed to a channel of someone who does Amiga repairs, and I'm fairly certain he's probably done a 4000 on his channel. Might give you an idea of what might be wrong with your Amiga 4000. It is Chris Edwards Restoration. So, if you need any ideas, you might check that one out. All right, so next capacitor in order is, let's see, I got C8, I got C9 because that was the same as something else. So let me get C10 and C11, these two here. And that probably means I'm going to get C25 because it's the same value. So that's the 2200 microfarad 10 volt. See here. And let's see, the third one was C20, C12. No, C12. Because, yeah, C25 is the 16 volt one. Oh, I guess I can go ahead and put the 16 volt ones in as well. So we'll go ahead and get that one. Oh, wow. It's a really small lead spacing on that replacement. Alright, well, there we go. Well, I'll just mount it so that it's slightly off the board. That'll work. Oops. I don't think that cap is going to stay. Alright, I better go ahead and solder this one here. It's acting like it wants to fall out. Get these two here. And get this one here, which is actually one of the higher voltage ones. And let me go ahead and get the other 2200 16 volt while I'm doing those. And that was a C16, which is this one here. Again, the spacings. So I'm kind of bending the leads out like that. Since the pins are a little wider spaced than this capacitor, and that'll, there we go. All right, there's all the 2200 microfarads. All right, and I'm just going to take a chance to, before I get too much further, just double check everything so far. All right, I guess I got C16, so C18. C18 is a 3300 microfarad 16 volt. It's this one here. And I noticed the lead spacing on the board is different than the modern cap. Yes, over the years, as the caps got smaller and whatnot, the pin spacings changed. And I suspect you just can't get the a modern cap with the same pin spacing, because the caps are smaller. Which I guess is good. That means they're not as close together. So let's see, C20 is 470 16. There we go. Oops. And there we go. Get that lead. Right. And I guess the next one in numerical order. Oh, the previous one that I missed in numerical order was C19, which is a 100 microfarad 25 volt, I think. No, 35 volt. So it's not that one. Here we go. It's one of these two. So there should be two of these. And the other one goes in C23. No, not C23. So C19's the 35 volt one, which is this one here. A little hard to get the pins in because of components around it, but I think I was going to have that problem no matter when I installed it. Alright, so C19 is one of the 35 volt ones. No doubt, whichever voltage rail it's on, it warrants a slightly higher margin. Okay, so C23 is the 100 microfarad 25 volt one, which is this one here. All right. Yeah, see you later, Garth. And that leaves us with C. I think that was C14 that I skipped. Yeah, C14 is the other 100 microfarad 35 volt. Right. Now we have the these two caps that will hopefully just snap in. There we go. 1 and 2. That'll hold those in place. And then the 2 safety caps, which I will mount those. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Saw something on the writing that gave me pause, but I think it's fine. All right, spacing on that is different. And there's not 2 sets of holes on this board for some reason. So I bent the leads in. I like to put these caps in where you see the writing. This one's got wider spacing. Luckily, the safety caps are not polarized. I mean, they couldn't really be because they go across the AC input. So there would be no way to polarize them. All right, there we go. All right. And those are all the caps. There is the freshly recapped power supply. Now, I do need to reflow these terminals. So for that, I am going to actually, you know, I'm going to do something wild and crazy here. Oh, there we go. I'm going to use some sample 88. And the reason I'm applying flux here is because I'm reflowing solder, although I may end up adding a little bit of new solder. But since I'm going to reflow, that is when some solder is needed. It's also going to be my way of marking where all the terminal pins are. Ah, yes. So I believe this is the slightly reformulated sample 88 that's not quite as tutti fruity smelling. I know Bruce at Brankus Creations had given Amtech a little bit of feedback that the cotton candy smell was maybe just a bit too overwhelming. Oh yeah. And I believe this is the slightly descented version. Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's still pleasant smelling, but it's not overwhelming. Oh, that's right. I got those already. All right, and there we go. Now I have reflowed all of the connector pins. So now I'm just going to take a look and see if there's any other pins that look like they might have been subject to stress. I don't think so. Other thing I'm going to do is there's a couple spots where there is some bare copper. And what I'm going to do, instead of trying to apply solder mask, is I'm going to well, or maybe I will just apply a little solder mask. It might not be that bad anyways. All right. All right, so now we have a freshly recapped and connectors reflowed board. I'm just giving it a quick clean. I mean, I could put it through the ultrasonic cleaner, but since I didn't use much flux, I'm just going to use isopropyl alcohol. Well, that, and I don't know that the caps were leaky. I didn't see any signs of electrolyte on the board, so it's quite possible that since none of these caps seem to be leaky, I mean, it is possible they were just out of spec. Because it is possible a capacitor could be out of spec, but not leaky, so I could pull out my little meter and spot check a few and see how well they measure to the real thing. Now, I'm just trying to accelerate the drying of this board. So there we go. Now, there is one possibility, and it's possible that what Joe might have seen when he tested this computer might actually be something due to the design of this power supply, because there is someone that makes a replacement power supply with a modern, I guess, using a mean well. And they actually have two power supplies on the board because they use a separate power supply for that goes to the analog board than the 12 volts that goes to the rest of the computer. So, but yeah, they can go bad, but not leak. All right, now there was a little plastic spacer that came off this board, and I don't know which corner it was in. I'm hoping it might be apparent when I remount it. I am fairly sure it goes this way. Because I'm looking at all the little points on the board, or on this plastic piece, and it only makes sense to put this power supply on one way based on what I see there, so. All right. Yeah, it could be the monitor caps. So the Console 5 does not have an analog board cap kit. If I got to replace any of those, that'll be all on me to find the caps. Oh, actually, is that... Oh, yay. I dropped one of the screws. But my extendable flashlight just came in handy, because I just picked it up off the floor. I actually managed to see where it rolled to. Unless I spoke too soon and that's not the same screw that I dropped. Oh, that is. Well, oh. Caps in the analog board are common parts, yeah. Well, they might be common parts, but I don't know if that I necessarily have them on hand. Well, I mean, I might have them on hand, but they might be in a cap kit for another computer. The Macintosh SE that you can't see. Oh. Yeah, the Macintosh SE that's behind me needs, probably needs recapped. Or something's loose because it gets all jittery. All right, so I've got the power supply mounted back in its panel. So let me see, it's 11:28, which means I'm not going to get as far on this as I want, but at least I would like to. So I'm not going to try to service the floppy drives tonight. But what I am going to try to do well, I may have to check Dr. Ian's site, but I've already placed my one order from Australia for the month. All right. But what I am going to try to do is unfold the motherboard tray. I watched a video on YouTube, which of course doesn't necessarily mean it's true or accurate. Note, because they didn't show removing all the screws to get to this point. But seemingly, if you get all of these screws out, actually, I don't think that's one of the screws holding the motherboard on. But that one is, with the ground lead. Get all the correct screws out, the motherboard tray should just pivot down. All right, well, I guess I can look on his website if I remember. Oh, wait. So, Thomas, if you've got a link to Dr. Ian's website, you might have to give YouTube a moment or two to refresh, but could you put a link to his website in the chat so at least I can go back and review it later and get the link? Yeah, I think I got that side. Oh, you know, I bet this floppy drive screw that I said is not holding the motherboard on is holding the motherboard on. But wait, there's more fasteners apparently. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll add even more fasteners that is going to hold this thing on. All right, I guess I gotta unplug the floppy drives. All right. Oh, that was it. The floppy drive cable was... And there we go. But you can't see half of it because I don't have enough room on my bench. You still can't see it all. All right. All right, let me turn my soldering iron off because, let's see here. There we go. Wow, look at that board. So I guess a quick walkthrough of what I see here on this board. Let's see here, find the plastic spudger. Oh, I can't find the plastic spudger. Where did I put it? So anyways, I see that we have a... Oh, there's a chip from the Western Design Center right there. I don't know what it is right offhand. Another one from the Western Design Center. That one might be the floppy controller. Maybe the Western Design Center was a second source for some chips. There is the Zilog Z80 processor. So if you can't tell from this, this is not a gate array machine. This is a, floppy ROMs. Given the date of this machine, the serial number, I believe this is a prototype, although I guess Tandy probably shipped them because why waste a perfectly good prototype? I think that's why there's some bodge wires. It's like one of the early Model 4Ps. Anyways, here's the connector I'm looking for the video card. Yeah, yes, the gate array machine, which has fewer chips. And it's... All right, I do need to change a few jumpers, and I need to connect this clip lead, and I don't remember right offhand where that goes, so I'm going to have to go to my saved videos, watch later. Let me mute this site. I don't think there's any music in the video. Closed captions are somewhat intelligible. I guess if anyone is curious at the video here. Actually, I'm probably going to turn the audio on carefully.
Make sure that it's connected to the foam tape. Then we have this wire hook here. Needs to connect to pin 22 on IC here. So we're just going to hook it mind me kicking the tripod.
Yeah. All right, and oh, convenient. Did he say what pin? No, of course not.
Have this wire hook here.
Wire hook here.
Needs to connect to pin 22.
Pin 22 of
I see
that chip.
here.
So it should be, I think that's a 40-pin chip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20. That is 20, so pin 22 is going to be this one here. Oh, that's going to be fun to get in there. Huh. Don't have to. Oh, I might have to actually, might have to pull the chip to get that clip under it. I'm fairly certain looking at the video that this is the correct chip. The boards do appear to be. It looks like I'm on the part of the video where it's not the gate array, because that would be a different. Actually, that feels pretty well in there. So let me, before I use the chip lifter, let me just insert this and break the hold of the oxidation that has built up over all these years. There we go. Now I suspect if I put the chip lifter in place, I should be able to pull up. No. All right. Oops. Inserting it the wrong place. I'm presuming this is the graphics chip. Ah, a wonderful single white socket. What do you know? Well, at least I'm not planning on inserting and removing this chip that many times. So let me just make sure the pins are still straight after I pulled it. This says copyright Tandy on it, but it's an AMI 83488EG, which I'm presuming is going to be a graphics chip of some sort. So the clip lead needs to go around pin 22, which is this one here. And actually, oh no. There we go. Maybe that'll fit around the leg. No. Huh, I might have to put another clip lead on this. I don't have a link for the graphics card handy. I bought it on eBay. It's a graphics GRAFYX 5.1. And this clip just doesn't really want to fit around the component's lead. Oh, there we go. I think I got it. There we go. All right, so let me just double check that I have continuity there. Should I have continuity between that chip? Yep. All right, confirmed. Now, the one thing that was supposed to come in the package for that card, and it didn't, is there was supposed to be some double-sided foam tape to put here to just hold the board in place, because the original board would have been held in with some standoffs, which actually don't even appear to be present on this version. Yeah, I don't even see them on this version. I don't think I've got any. I don't have any double-sided foam tape. Yeah, I'm watching the RE 1974 YouTube video. I guess the one thing I could do, I don't have any double-sided foam tape, but I got Kapton tape. You know, I'm really not too worried about that. I don't think I'm too worried about that coming out of the slot, though. I think there's enough friction holding that in. I'll stick with it. All right. Okay, now the one other thing I do need to do is there's some jumpers I gotta change.
Like that. Okay. Remind me kicking the tripod. Now finally, just to finish this off, we need to change some jumpers around. Bring the system forward so you can see clearly.
All right. I think the first one he's going to change is...
Okay, first one is right here, E14, 15, 16. We want to remove that from E14, 15 to E15, 16.
All right. There we go. There's the first jumper.
Just like that. Up the front here, near the video connector, we've got E8, E7 and E6. We want to change its position from E7, E8 to E6, E7.
All right. Got that one changed.
Like that. And finally, we have one more jumper here, marked E4, E5 only. We just want to remove that one altogether.
All right.
You can either take away the jumper or just leave it like I do, hanging on one of the pins, in case you want to restore it at some time.
All right. There we go. I got the graphics board in, got the jumpers changed. I don't have any software that can use it, so that'll be a mystery. Also, it's like not going to be something I can test tonight, so I'll have to get a probably set up a GoTech with so I can put it in place of one of the floppy drives for testing the graphics card. I think it just comes into the realities of ordering a graphics card from Australia. I came with the graphics card. I think the disc was extra. I figured I could use a GoTech. Yeah, I can download it from Ian's site. I didn't get that done. I actually don't have a... Well, I've got a GoTech. And so far I have not permanently installed it in any machines, but... In fact, I don't know if I'm going to permanently install one in this machine, but... I'm undecided on that. Because I think both floppy drives, I think they're working fine, or at least the first one is. Maybe I might put a GoTech in place of the second floppy drive at some point. And I'm sure someone is probably going to be wondering that, well, why don't you put a free HD in it? And my answer to that is, I don't know what I'm going to use this computer for yet, because this is my first TRS-80 ever. I remember there being one in one of my brother's classrooms. Would have been at the same time when the classroom I was in had an Apple IIe, an Apple IIgs, and an Macintosh LC. His classroom had, well, I remember it had like a TRS-80, I think it was a Model 3. And I think it had a Macintosh LC. I think they'd put a Macintosh LC in many of the classrooms. I think this classroom may have just had 2 computers in it. Oh, it may have had an Apple IIe in it as well, now that I think about it. Because the part of the school we were in was doing a reading challenge, and come to think of it, I think you had the software that you did the reading challenge on was Apple II based software, so their classroom probably had an Apple IIe in it. I don't know if the Apple IIe compatibility card had been released yet, although maybe it had. So maybe their classroom did just have an LC and a TRS-80 Model 3. Yeah, since I've never used a TRS-80, I'm kind of... Oh, hi, Dave. Welcome. Yeah, it's kind of why I'm not... I haven't just jumped at buying a free HD, because I don't know what I'm going to use this TRS-80 for yet. quite honestly, I may just use it for floppy-based software, so I really wouldn't need a free HD. So maybe might put 2 Gotex in it at some point just to save the floppy drive's wear and tear. Although generally, the first computer of any type that I have, I'd like to leave it stock where possible, or make it reversible. The nice thing about that graphics card is it's reversible. So I can I just change those jumpers back, pull the card off, and boom, it's back to stock. So that still meets my usual. The first computer is stock, or at least reversible upgrades. Now, granted, of course, there is the exception to the rule that if I've got a computer and there's that it would be non-functional unless I do. If the only way to make it work would be to do something that's a non-reversible, then I would do it. If it was like that, or no computer. So like if someone for example, gave me an Apple III, which I don't have an Apple III, so that would be the first one I'd have, but it was like so smashed up that it would be unusable unless I made it a very certainly not stock machine. Well, then that would win. I mean, I just have to hope that maybe a second Apple IIe would come around that I could keep stock. So yeah, my rule does have an exception, that if the machine would be unusable in leaving it stock for whatever defect it has, be it that it's like in such poor condition, it was missing pieces, that a non-replaceable part was just broken, then I would make it a modded machine. But in this case, this machine works. I haven't found anything yet that is broken about it. I haven't managed to damage it. So reversible mods, yes. I'd kind of like to sneak a composite mod in here somewhere, because I'd like to be able to put this on an RGB to HDMI to get a clear capture of the video signal. But there's enough openings in the case I could tack some solder wires on and pass wires out. So that meets my definition of a reversible mod, because I can just desolder the wires. Yeah, there's some games for the graphics board for the Model 4. In fact, actually, I'm probably going to at some point. I think I found a website that will generate graphic, so you can give it an image and it'll create an image, a little program that'll display that image on the Model 4. I'll probably do that. Yeah, I just need to figure out where to tap the signal off to get a video signal that I can pass to an RGB to HDMI. I think Joe might have actually done something like that. Jeremy, the TRS-80 color computer supported color. But I guess the thing is, it was a fun fact. The TRS-80 color computer does not have a Z80 processor in it. At that point, Tandy was used the TRS-80 name because of name recognition. And but it didn't have a Z80 processor in it. It had actually the TRS-80 color computer had a 6809 in it. Yeah, thanks, Thomas. Oh, you meant TRS-80 models 1 through 4? No, none of them were color. They were all black and white. Okay, and the later TRS-80 had 68,000. Yeah. All right, let's see here. There should be, you would, maybe I should probably test this before I completely reassemble it, but because of the way the keyboard is. One, two, three, four. All right. And I'm already missing screws. Something tells me that this machine... Oh, maybe that's why I had so much trouble getting those screws in. 1, 2, 3. Because there were 3... There were 6 screws on the back. This must have not had all the screws in it. Oh, there was a color box for the Model 1? I didn't know that. This is my first TRS-80. It appears to be missing a few screws, which is fine. I'll,
So that's our...
And I dropped a piece on the space bar. All right, well, I will... Oh, wait, these screws are not visible from the outside, so why am I robbing Peter to pay Paul? I don't know. All right, well... Yes, I realize I'm putting this back together and I haven't tested it, but remember, I'm partially filming for a scripted video where I'll just make the floppy drive servicing another part. I don't know when I'll get that video out. I might get a chance to work some on it this weekend. So I do, for that video, need to show me putting it back together, even though I haven't tested it. I guess at least I'm going to put the... I won't put the plastic top piece on to test it, but I at least thought I would enclose the high voltage electronics. For safety. Uh, what is that, Thomas? Is that a link to the color box? Because I don't have a Model 1. Although I think I might have a lead on one, but I don't have one. Oh. Well, I would actually rather have HDMI than SVGA, but I'll check it out. I mean, I can capture SVGA, no problem. The scaler can do it. HDMI's... HDMI gives you the clearest capture quality. The Ethernet part, though, is kind of falls in my, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with this computer, but I'll check it out. Just as long as it's not a product that replaces the processor and emulates it with the Raspberry Pi, that's right out. That's cheating to me. That would be something I would reserve for it's not going to work any other way because something is that wrong with it. All right, so I'm going to flip this around so that I can see the image, but you should still be able to see the... Oh. Trina, I am in Virginia. Home of the 3 presidents. And that might have actually been a clue as to what part of the state I'm in. You just have to look up your, All right. I realize you're not going to be able to see the monitor. I don't really have a way around that at the moment. But you should be able to see smoke. Oh, you're looking up TRS-80s on eBay. Oh, I think I've got a lead on one that I won't have to spend money on. Although I've seen some color computers show up on eBay that I was tempted. All right, so 3, 2, 1. All right, that's a good sign. All right, I have an image on the screen. It's telling me the floppy disk drive is not ready. Let me turn down the brightness because I realized I have the scan. I could see the scan lines. All right. Hit the reset button. Ooh, there we go. I see the nice TRS-DOS 6.02.00 screen. Oh, it looks so lovely. Let me see here. Oh. Thomas has a room full of them. All right, date. I think it will like the date 12. Wait a minute. Why am I putting 12? That makes no sense. No. 09. 15. 87. There we go. Yeah, it looks like it's working good. The screen looks nice and stable. I guess probably what I want to do is maybe let it run for a little while. So yeah, but I'm not going to do that tonight while I'm not here to watch it. So anyways, that was I guess everything I'd wanted to do almost. I wanted to service the floppy drives, but didn't get to that tonight. So I will have to do that another video. Just let me stop stop recording on my camcorder because I don't need to record anymore. Anyways, I guess I can see if there's a way where I can somehow, somehow tilt this so I can show you the wonderful screen. I guess this is one good thing about putting the metal back on it. So I did a directory listing. Let me hit reset here. There we go. I love that Tandy logo. That is a great logo. May have to set up one of those LED 32 by 32 pixel LED screens. I think the Tandy logo might be one I have to try to do on that resolution. I don't think it would quite come across on a LED bright. Besides, Joe's sold out of those. But there we go. It is TRS-80 Model 4P. I've recapped it. I installed a graphics board. I'll have to get the floppy drives another day and get some disk images on a GoTech. So, but yeah, this is great. So that is actually the, I guess, good enough for the work I needed to do on the TRS-80. So at least it'll let me do a quick scripted video. At least it'll let me start scripting the first scripted video on this. I would like to maybe hopefully get one of the shirts I ordered from Joe in before I actually do the talking head part of the video, but if not, no worries. I have a backup shirt that I can wear, but I figured that I would order one of Joe's shirts, since he's the one that gave me this computer to wear during the talking head part. Although I'm cheap and I've just paid for standard shipping, so if it doesn't arrive in time, Joe will understand, and I'll have plenty more videos on this where I can wear his 8-bit shirt and not the 8-bit guy's Z80 shirt. But yeah, great. Got a good start to making this more reliable. Definitely don't have to worry about the magic smoke. We'll have to worry about where those reefer caps went, though, because I just tossed them behind me, and one of them bounced off something metal. I don't know where either of them is. I'll find them randomly on something later. I'm just trying to make sure they're not somewhere where I'll step on them. But yeah. So actually, I think the cap kit was like 19 bucks. And that seems to have... Now, granted, if I leave this running longer, maybe I'll realize there's some other problem with it. But it looks like maybe it was just the power supply needed recapped. So if that was it, yay. Time for a mag broom. Yeah, probably. Although I don't know how well reefer caps will stick to a mag broom. But yeah, I should probably get one for the basement to pick up those little chip leads. So, yeah. So I guess if you're watching this, maybe you're new to the channel, you haven't seen my channel. If you like this live stream, then don't forget to subscribe, because the YouTube algorithm won't always recommend my videos. And if you like TRS-80s and you're not subscribed, then you won't know when I do another TRS-80 live stream or even a video. And don't forget to smash that like button. And I guess I will mention that I have a September coffee goal. I'd like to buy a better camera lens for doing scripted videos. Basically, I have a zoom lens for my camera that I figured out I always use 14 millimeters, so I would like a 14 millimeter lens. So that's my coffee goal, but even if you can't help with that, I'm glad you're here. Maybe share my video with a friend, share my channel with a friend. And with that, I think it's probably a good time to bring the stream to an end so that I can be on my best behavior at work tomorrow morning, which if I don't get enough sleep, then I'll just be all weird and my coworkers will not like that. So take care, everybody. I hope to see you next time. And thanks for joining me. Happy Septandy. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.